right-click, open with, Notepad++. I know this looks really intimidating, but I promise you it is not. You have right here your submesh, EMD submesh, name, door. Think of this as your material. So, you can press Ctrl F, and just look for texture. See this? This is horrible. The texture index equals 0. You don't want all of them to equal 0, or every single one of them is going to have the same exact texture. So what we need to do here... next we should probably do some paint.net. So you have your house. I'm going to make the lamp again so I can see the textures. You have your individual textures. Alright, so this might be a little tricky because I'm going to keep going around into different files, but just bear with me, please. You have your door, and it says here the texture is green. You also have door here in your emd.xml file. We want this texture index to be 0. But in order for that to work, we need to go into our textures and first of all convert these into DDS files. So to spare us the insanity, let's just make a separate folder of them, excluding the non-texture files. There we go. Now open your paint.net or whatever image editing program you want to use. We have green, right? Can I drag and drop it here? Yes, cool. Click File, Save As, change Save As type to Direct Draw Surface, DDS, and we're going to change it from green to Data 000. These settings, make sure that Generate Bitmaps is unchecked, and make sure DXT5 is selected. Okay. There we go, we have our very first texture. Next, we have Shiny Window Frame. Shiny Window Frame, according to this, that texture is 2 gray. So we will now open 2 gray. This is tedious, I know, but it's very important. Save as, and this one is going to be data, you guessed it, 001. Okay. Now for the texture index, change the 0 to 1. Because it's data 001. Next is the roof side. Roof side texture is brown. So, open the folder, open paint.net, close the previous image that is done, and drag brown in. File, save as, direct draw surface, data 002. And we'll close that now. And texture index 2, texture index 2, weather vane. That was black. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It's not even supposed to be black, it's actually supposed to be white. So, rip. Doesn't matter though, it's easy to edit. Just change the color to white. As a matter of fact, I may just do that. Let's change the color to white. Solid color. Edit, view, whatever. Colors. You know what, that works. There, now it's white. Not too white, though, or it'll just look weird. That's gray! What am I thinking? Okay, good. Sure, let's go with that. There's black. And we'll call it Data 006. You know, let's spare ourselves more headache and just move the data files over because it's starting to really clash. There we go. And doorknob. I believe it's the last one. Just put this in now. There we go. And there we go! We have all of our needed textures, and we have the proper textures written into the model file. So now, File, Save. And right here, drag the emd.xml file back into xenoxmlconverter.exe. Now it's updated with the proper texture mapping. Click that, and also click this. We're actually done with paint.net, so we can close it. And we drag these two into nskpack.exe. And now we've got the proper NSK. I'm a little nervous because I know this is the updated house. I'm just hoping I didn't edit this house. I don't think I did, because remember, that house didn't have the separated materials. But yeah, we're just gonna call this old, just to stop the confusion. There we go. So we have an NSK file. Now every NSK file, so far, apparently, needs an EMB file and an EMM file. So, we just made the EMB file, luckily. We'll just rename that to rlby5_house. And we will drag this folder of DDS files into embpack.exe. Wherever it is. There it is. You can use V2 if you want, it actually doesn't matter. And there you go. I'm gonna copy that, or I'm gonna cut that, and we're gonna paste it here with our other files. There, now we need the EMM. To get an EMM file, first let's copy an existing one from the same stage. Actually, it might be a good idea to copy Masterclose EMM file, which we can find in here. Remember, it needs to be the same name as the EMD file, or it just will not be compatible. Went too far. Alright, let's paste that. Let's open that up. And let's take a look. This shader is apparently for flat textures. And he has all these material files. I have no idea what these unknown values are. That actually has me concerned. And since that has me concerned, we're just gonna go ahead and look at the EMM file for the official Kame House, because I don't want to risk anything. Now let's open that up then. Okay, now this makes sense. There's no unknown values. That's good. Okay, so we're basically going to want to copy all this. And there should be 11 of them, if I recall. The best way to find out is to check how many DDS files you have. Yep, we've got 11. We have 12, but I never count 0. So I highlighted all that. Make sure you highlight to the end of this, or you will regret it. Copy. And we can actually overwrite these. As long as we don't save over the EMM, we're going to call it something else. All the way down. Up until here. And paste. Now all that's left, for this part, is to label these with the material names. And I thought they'd have to be in order, but they don't, actually. It doesn't matter, though. We'll put them in order, just to be safe. Roof side, window shutters. Window pane, window frame, weather vane. Walls and doorknob. These need to have the EMM material name correct, or you will not get your textures on the model when it shows up in game. We are saving as, and we're going to call this rlby5_house.emm.xml. Now, we can drag the rlby5_house.emm.xml into xenoxmlconverter.exe, and it will create an EMM file for us. We officially have our EMB file, our EMM file, and our NSK file. Let's copy all those, and you have to put them in this specific folder. You have to put them in the ID folder of your stage, whatever that might be. There is one more step. And this is a step that could confuse a lot of people, so I will try to go over it slowly. You need to edit the map file so that it loads your new NSK file. So, drag your .map file into xenoxmlconverter.exe. Open it up. And we're also going to want to open the Glacier file where we got the NSK file from. I want to open the Glacier map file because it's going to have information that we need. There we go. So the first thing you want to do, in the Glacier map file, type object like this. This is your index of objects for the map. As you can see, we lucked out, and the NSK that we borrowed from is the very first object in Mastiglow's Glacier map file. So now what we want to do is go to our own map file, and for this one we want to type this, because this will take us to the very end of the object list. Now we scroll up a little until we find this. When it says index above the object tab, this is the object, but unfortunately there are many more index stuff. Just keep track that they're subparts. This is a sub-part. This is a sub-part. And this is a part. We are paying attention to this. Hitbox group index value equals whatever it is. For me right now, it is 7. So what we're gonna do is go back to the map file for the glacier. We're gonna highlight all of this, all the way down until we get to the end of the object tab. Here's the end of the object tag. Right click, copy. And here, keep note, I'm gonna make this number an 8. Scroll down. Now make a line between the end of the object tab and the end of the list object tag. And you paste. Now, you're not done. Immediately scroll up a little. We're changing some names before we forget. So the hitbox group, first of all, that is an 8, if you remember what I was saying a second ago. The name value, you can make this whatever you want, but try and keep it consistent. We're going to make it, well, RLBY5 house. You can change this index number if you want. You don't have to. But if you want to be orderly, then go ahead. See, this was 20, so I made this one 21. Change this name value. And make sure this points to the same directory as your NSK file that you just made. So for me, it's rlby5, /rlby5_house.nsk. And it is the same for the EMM. And it is the same for the EMB. Alright. You are almost done. I promise. I don't think the object will load correctly unless you give it a hitbox group as well. So here you want to type the beginning tag for hitbox group. So this is the end of the objects. Once you get to the end of the objects, you get your collision data, among other data. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's needed. Hitbox group. Call root tends to be the floor. Invisiwall is the invisible wall, etc. We want to highlight this much. Just from hitbox group to hitbox. Copy. And right here, go to the end tag for list hitbox group. Now you're at the end of the hitbox groups. So make a new line between the end tag for hitbox group and the end tag for list hitbox group, and paste what you copied. You can change this index number if you want, but you don't have to. I do it to be orderly. And here, you want to change this. I'm not sure if you have to, but just be safe. You don't want your map to crash. And you change this value as well. And here, we need to make an end tag for hitbox and hitbox group. Oh, hitbox is here twice. We didn't actually need to put that. I don't think the spacing has anything to do with it. Let's see, hitbox, list hitbox. Oh, we need list hitbox. Sorry. Hitbox, list hitbox, hitbox group. And list hitbox group. There we go. Actually, apparently it's case sensitive. Did not know that. Okay. And that should have compiled your map for you. So, the very last thing we're gonna do, open the Xenoverse game, go back to character select, and load your map. If this crashes, I might cry. That's a good sign. That means it won't crash. Now let's see if our texture's loaded correctly. Perfect.
Yep, so you're light years ahead of me by now. But hey, I'm having fun doing my own thing.
And there you go. You have a little Kame house. It needs to be flipped horizontally. Easy to do. We have a white weather vane, as it's supposed to be. And yes, you can make this as big or small as you want. You make it bigger in the 3D modeling software. But you can actually change its position on the map inside of the map file. You just gotta scroll all the way up, or wherever. Yeah, scroll all the way up. Control F. Look for your NSK data. So that's the object. And now at the very end, right before you get to the end of the object tag, you have this transform matrix 4x3. If you want to make the house move, I'm not sure if it's left or right or forward or back, then it's this one or this one. And if you want to make it higher or lower, it's this one. We want it to be higher, so let's change this to a 1. Increase its value and all that. That is the only change I will make, so you guys can see it better. The rest is on you to 3D model it as you see fit. I will warn you though that every single time you 3D model it, you need to go and do the texture index thing inside of the emd.xml file. It always just loses that data. And there we go. We have our full house.
But hey, I'm having fun doing my own thing.
And that is how you import a model into a Xenoverse 2 stage with all of its textures. Thank you for watching. I hope it was informative. If you have any questions, ask me. I know this was very complicated. I am happy to help. Until next time.